KOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock, one of my favorite segments of the broadcast week happening right now. It's In the Garden with Carol Ann. Carol Ann Baldwin comes in each Tuesday to volunteer an hour so that we can benefit from her understanding of what makes things grow. I am now the proud guardian of 3 plants. So I'm going to have to ask her about my third one. If you have any questions for Carol Ann during the course of the show, the number is 622-9622. And good morning, Carol Ann.
Good morning, Larry. How are you this morning?
I'm good.
Good.
I told you.
So you have a third plant now.
Cactus.
Ah, okay. I thought you got cactus for your brother, or you bought it.
I bought it
for your son.
I bought one for him.
Oh,
for
okay.
my son, and then
you went ahead and got yourself.
I got one for me.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, and you're right. The flower was fake.
Yeah.
But I want it to grow.
Sure.
The real part.
The plant. Yeah.
Do I water it at all?
You water it some. It's a cactus. It doesn't need to be watered often.
What if I just put it outside? Would it get too much water?
Is it in still little teeny pot? Little teeny pot. Yeah. I'd probably make it into a little bit bigger pot. And you were a fan of the terracotta pots, and that's what they like.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and there actually is specific potting mix for cactus and succulents.
Oh, okay.
So I would probably get a bag of that, especially if you're going to. Yeah, it only comes in a little 8-quart bag, so it's not a real big bag anyway.
And how often do I water
usually you're going to water it maybe once a week.
Really?
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they don't need a lot of water.
So I got the apple tree, I got the peace lily, and now I got the cactus.
And now you've got your cactus.
I'm starting to be a gardener.
So there you go. Yeah, you got, getting it going. Yeah, and your peace lily's cleaning the air in the house, and the apple tree is out there in the yard. And
the apple tree's getting big.
Yeah, I can
Yours
imagine.
is too, right?
Yeah, mine is too. And I thought I had taken, maybe I didn't take a picture because I need to isolate it so you can see it.
Yours has branches?
Mine has one branch.
See, mine doesn't have any branches.
Mine has one branch on the bottom, and I'm not sure. I think it might have been because some of the leaves had gotten damaged, and I pulled them off.
Oh.
So I just popped them off, and I think maybe it branched from that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, maybe I should see. I don't know those little tricks you do.
No, it was just like, ooh, that's an icky leaf. Let me take that off.
Do you know what I saw? I want to tell you something. The other day we were in Mount Dora.
Okay.
And we saw this guy, and he was taking little clippings from the trees on the streets, and putting them in a little baggie.
Oh, yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
But he was doing it.
Yeah.
And
there's
I
people
said, he's propagating.
Yes, he probably was.
Pilfering and propagating.
He was. He was stealing city property.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if everybody did that?
I know
what those trees would look like.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, that's why botanical gardens, bush gardens, Disney, you're not allowed to do that.
You don't take a leaf.
Yeah, you don't take anything. It's take only pictures, leave only footprints.
Yeah.
Unless you have permission, because can you imagine if everybody did it? One year, actually, as master gardeners, we did that to a plant that was planted in the landscape of the Ag Center Gardens.
Uh-huh.
It was a Confederate rose.
Okay.
It was one of which is in the mallow / hibiscus family.
Uh-huh.
It's one where the flower starts out white, turns gradually turns pink, and then red, and then drops. We took enough cuttings, we killed the plant.
Oh.
over a period of a couple of years.
On purpose? You wanted to
No,
see?
did not want to kill the plant.
Oh, okay.
It was just that was our parent plant, but we took so many cuttings from it that the
really?
plant could not overcome. It was done every single year, and the plant succumbed to that stress.
Okay.
And so that's one of those things you have to watch out. That we didn't make another parent plant. So. That's you don't do that along the I mean, now he may have worked for.
I know there might be
somebody.
an
There might have been.
explanation.
There might have been a thing that he could. They were sampling, checking tree health. But usually, if you're doing that, you'd be putting each sample into a specific baggie, into the envelope, whatever that so that you'd have them all labeled and
labeled.
marked.
Yeah.
So, but Well, when you do things like that, a lot of times, when you're stealing it, you don't. It doesn't take because you didn't have permission. So.
And that's karma.
Yeah.
It
You're
doesn't
not
work.
supposed to steal, even if it is plant material. Like I say, you go into parks and things like that, or and on the the city street, in front of front of buildings and things like that. Those are planted for everyone's
Thank you.
enjoyment,
Ooh.
not just for for you to take some cuttings and wander away.
So when you hit a guitar string and you just let it ring out, sometimes it rings longer than other times.
Yeah.
Depends on how new it is.
Right.
So the same way with the news story. So last week we had that news story about
The lethal bronzing
and I
in
think
bombs.
it rang out for about 3 days. People were calling in asking about it. And stuff.
Right.
So I know when you came in. Now I hadn't heard about anything since.
No, nothing
Maybe
new.
Thursday.
I checked the news sources on it to see, brought it up online and to see what anything new. I think the last new thing, which wasn't really new, it was just kind of a rehashing of what I had seen before, and this was what did it say? This came out of Channel 20. At Alachua County, and it really was the same. It was the same thing, the same story. So nothing new, and there's not going to be anything new right away. It's more of just that it was brought to the attention of people to keep an eye out.
Right,
I mean,
right.
but the only thing that article did say is it has been seen. I think he said it has been seen up as far as Jacksonville, that northeast, and over towards just east, I think, of Tallahassee, and way down into. The southernmost part of the state. So, and there's certain areas that are there's a lot of palms and a lot in natural areas. And so
Is it affecting it in such a way that driving in a certain area you'd notice the palms are looking bad?
Right now, I don't know if it's gotten to that point yet. But that's why they're letting people know that if you see one, and the symptoms actually, I think this article was actually a little better on the symptomatic. It's the leaves aren't turning yellow. It's that they're actually turning a bronzy color, starting from the tip
really?
of the frond, moving its way in, and at that point, once you start seeing that, and if you have a tree that's a mature enough size for it to be fruiting, the flower's either coming on and dying, or that all of the fruit are dropping off of it prematurely. Things like the pindo palm, where you're looking for the fruit, which normally they'll drop a little here, a little there. Over the course as they ripen, they'll drop. Well, these are like dropping prematurely, and they'll drop all of them at once, kind of thing. But that the spear, the center part, does actually die on this. It's one of and once the spear dies, the tree is dead. It's just a matter of a time before it would.
Then if it's a tall one,
it gets to be
it's probably heavier than it looks, right?
Oh
It's
yeah,
probably really heavy.
They're a giant grass again, kind of like and very fibrous. So my understanding is that they're tough on a chainsaw.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that you need a really sharp chainsaw to cut them down, which a sharp chainsaw is going to be a better tool anyhow. But it's just something that if you have a lot of palms in your landscape, you might want to keep an eye out on them, on the health of them. A lot of areas, if there's going to be a lot of palms in a specific area, I don't yet. And the funny thing is I'm not sure. I hadn't read anything where they're seeing it affecting the natural areas. So I'm wondering if some of this may be confined to more residential or urban, more suburban, where
Oh, really?
they're planted, like that. But, let's hope, because, the southern pine beetle was devastating in natural areas because were closer together. I mean, quite a bit of damage was done with that.
We should put a picture on your Facebook page and.
I had to see if I can link link one of the articles to. Did I not link that?
You
one?
might have done that, yeah.
The one article, I'm not sure. I should have. I don't believe I did, though. There's my snake.
Oh yeah, your snake. What kind of snake was that?
Just a red rat snake.
Red rat.
Yeah, instead of a yellow rat snake.
Now, did it sort of like to the uneducated eye? That would be me. It sort of looked like one of those
pygmy rattlesnake.
No. The colorful one that's real deadly. What's it called? Red with head. You're dead?
No, that doesn't look anything like like a coral snake.
Coral, that's the word.
Coral snakes
Yeah.
are definitely banded. Like somebody took a paintbrush right around.
Oh, okay.
All the way. That they have. Boom, boom, boom. This is patterned, but he was in a pot.
You were stepping on him?
No, a coworker
that was
had
somebody else?
to keep him. Yeah, so I went and got the bucket and the picker upper thing to stick him in the bucket and took him outside.
Just let him go?
Yeah, just let him go out in the field next door to us. So yeah, no big deal.
I don't like to kill animals
Yeah,
either.
no, I mean he's a good guy, and I mean they help to control the rodent population and that, and so he was startling, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was startling. And that's the whole thing. Most of the time, when it comes to snakes, we only have five venomous snakes in Florida, but
it only takes one.
And it only takes one, and those are the 5 that'll hurt you. The other snakes that we have will make you hurt yourself. Because you jump, you step back, you trip over something, you do something.
Okay, let me see if I can name the 5.
Okay.
Rattle.
Yes.
Snake. The coral snake.
Yes.
The copperhead. Is that one?
That is one that's mostly up near the Panhandle, but it is, yeah.
Okay.
But that's one, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have no idea.
Pygmy rattlesnake.
Okay.
And the moccasin, the water moccasin.
Oh, okay.
So you've got your 5.
And copperhead was one of the 5?
Copperhead is one. Yeah, I think because the copperhead is just not. I don't think it's found that often down here. I think it's coming. You see it a little bit more. I think in natural areas where you have more of the diamondbacks and things like that.
So a pygmy rattle is an actual different snake. It's not a baby rattlesnake.
Right? No, a pygmy rattlesnake. It doesn't get much more than say 18 inches long.
Oh.
Very small head. So it has a hard time biting you. If you have shoes on, your feet are you're not going to get,
really?
If you step on it, it's because they can't, it's going to have to bite a digit or like the coral, the coral snake, when the coral snake strikes, there's not really much venom. He actually has to chew on you.
That's
in order to inject.
Yeah, I don't want.
And now the coral snake is probably the most deadly because that's I believe the neurotoxin is the coral.
That's what
the
they say,
other
yeah,
ones,
yeah.
The other ones are actually, a blood toxin, which
an hour or something.
Yeah, that you better be getting some help.
Oh my gosh,
because your body just doesn't know how to do its natural
Let's
stuff.
hope I never have that. All right.
The radio.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Pardon?
Good morning. You're on the air.
Oh, okay. I talked to you last week. I'm the gardenia lady.
Okay.
Asking for some help in trying to find out if I might have the largest gardenia tree.
I could not find. Yeah, I could not find any.
I don't.
Yeah,
I spend my time in the garden, so I don't have time for computer.
Sure.
So that's where I need help at.
Right.
In finding out if my tree could be considered.
Yeah, I had not found anything. I'm not sure if there is any kind of registry on things that are just shrubs. I mean, I know we have registries for some of the oak trees, the big live oaks, and as the oldest living and that. But like the gardenia, I have not found anything on that.
Well, maybe it could be a beginning.
That's true. Not sure where to put it in. I think somebody had said, try Guinness or something like that, but I'm not sure if they have a classification on that. I've never really gotten too much into the Guinness book, kind of thing.
I would appreciate it. I'm up in my 90s.
Sure.
It's hard for me to proceed, and if it could be done, I would appreciate it. Any help?
Sure.
I'm in the city.
Right. Yeah, I'm not.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, at this moment, like I said, I had not found anything, so I'm not sure if there is any classification anywhere to to post, to list something like that. I'm not sure.
Maybe we could try.
Yeah, all I can do is look for where it might go. I don't have any influence onto where in the state of Florida or anything, or Marion County, that you could, that they'd have to go around and people could submit and measure and document age and things like that. I'm not real sure.
Maybe just by being on the radio, it might be of interest.
Sure.
Somebody, knowledgeable about it could be of help.
Yeah. If anybody's listening knows how to do something like that, I'm not sure how to go about it.
Right. Okay. I sure appreciate the time.
Oh, sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
You bet. I'm Lillian.
All right, Lillian. Well, thank you so much for being a listener and calling in with that.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Yeah, that's a tough one because I looked also for that.
Yeah, and when you bring it up, it just doesn't.
How big did she say hers was?
I know she was saying it was about 8 or 10 to 12 feet, I think, but I mean, that's the height on, gardenias get.
It was already bigger than the average, right?
Already bigger than the average, but then again, it was also older. So, I mean, it may be one of the oldest. And she had said before that it had been transplanted, had been moved, and brought with, from one location to another, and that. But just looking up largest gardenia in Florida, all you get is some information on how to grow gardenias. So it's I'm not sure how to. It would be one of those kind of things of how do you document, and then how do you find out if it truly is the largest without other people submitting also their statistics when the plant actually does there are varieties that do get 10 feet tall, and that one just happens to be a little bit bigger, and that, I mean, some people never believed that azaleas, that especially the older varieties. Most people keep azaleas at, I don't know, 4 feet or so. And I've seen them, and the tags will tell you they can go 10 to 12 feet. And people are going, really? And it's like, yes, if you let them grow, they will get that large. So that's why I said I'm not, if you let them if you let them do what nature had intended, they will get very large and very beautiful. I mean, they, sometimes might be a little thin, foliage-wise, but when they bloom, they well make up for that. That they're just spectacular.
Well, her point reaching out to the listening audience is a good one, though. There might be somebody out there who does have some expertise in that. So.
Right. And so, so if anybody's listening and they know something about how to go about finding out, or if anybody, is maybe a member of a local printed press kind of thing that might be interested in taking some pictures and throwing it out to other ideas, local other maybe gardening clubs that might have an idea on some of that, because some of those garden clubs have been in Ocala, Marion County for many years, and know some of the history and some of the locals. So that's Maybe someone who's listening is a part of that.
Maybe it's never been documented. Maybe she documented.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Her
Is I
size,
don't think anybody has ever really
submit it to Guinness and then see if anybody breaks the record.
Yeah, but it's probably depending on where they're native or that it's like I said it's
You know what?
it's hard to say. I mean, hers may quite possibly, at least in this area, be the largest one, but unless anybody's out there measuring and checking and or then they go, well, mine's only 8 feet right now, but if I trim it just so and I throw a bukus of fertilizer, I bet you I can get another 1.5 feet out of it by next year.
Right.
I'm not sure where we could go on.
Do plants in general, plants that grow both here and elsewhere in the country, like in the colder parts of the country,
right?
Do they typically grow larger here because they have sunshine so much often?
Many times plants that that grow here, we grow year round. So they'll
they
put on new growth.
Yeah,
they may either get larger, but they can also go through their life cycle faster. That they may, they may not live as long here because they grew. They just never they never slept.
Right,
they never had that dormancy for them to rest. So sometimes some plants may not live as long because of that shortened lifespan, because of year-round growing conditions that they can do.
No, again, this is going to make me show my naivete and my ignorance. But in the animal kingdom, right, deer are smaller here than they are up north, right?
Yes, they are. And again, I think it's possibly, they say, what is in what they eat is in a higher calorie, or that they don't need to put on the fat.
And that's why they stay smaller.
Weight, to put the weight on because of the winters not that they're not consuming a lot during a specific season and then slacking off. I mean, that's not that they hibernate, but you figure grazing and things like that becomes more difficult in the winter.
Deer are smaller for the same reason plants are bigger.
Quite possible. And you think of the key deer. Now, the key deer is a specific breed.
That's a little
of deer. Yeah, that's a little tiny one. But you think about what is on the keys that they can eat.
Nothing.
Not a whole lot. So if they were a larger breed of animal, they'd never survive. So the key deer are the size of a medium-sized dog, I think.
I've only seen a few of them. Have you ever driven across that key?
I've seen them.
And the warning signs, be careful.
Yeah,
and you see them, you think it's a dog on the side of the road. Yeah.
And because there's so little, and the species is just is smaller because that area would never sustain a larger deer.
It's kind of interesting how that happened,
even the deer here, I'm wondering if the deer here in Florida are of the same breed, or if they just if it truly is, I mean, that's my belief, is that it's the food source. It may not have the same, we grow some nice sized horses here in Florida. It's not like our horses are smaller, and that the grazing areas for the horses is supposed to be fantastic, of the nutrition that's in the grasses because of our soil and because of the water is, so much better for horses, that I don't think it has anything to do necessarily with that. It's just that to me, temperatures and things like that, to where they don't have to put on a lot of calorie earlier in during a certain part of the year.
And you have a phone call.
All right.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Yeah, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Speaking of deer, last year where I live out here in Silver Springs, it's kind of in the country type of setting. I had a big buck run in front of me, and it was as big as any deer I ever seen up north.
Yeah.
It had to be at least an 8 or a 10 pointer, and I was maybe about 30 feet from hitting it, but it got across the road in front of me. But it was quite an experience. They always say the deer are smaller down here. Well, maybe some of them are, but that one wasn't.
Yeah, there you go. And well, like you said, that was a mature deer. That was being that size of a buck, and of course the buck's going to be bigger than the doe anyway. But
yeah, up in northern Wisconsin, there's such a tremendous deer population that every once in a while they'll extend the shooting time to the control of the population.
Yeah.
And there are people that live up there. They have what they call like a little whistler they put on their front bumper.
Oh yeah.
That you can't. Yeah, a human can't hear it. I suppose a dog could, but the deer hear it when you're driving along, especially at nighttime, and it scares them away from the road.
It's supposed to.
It's just about everybody I know that lives up north has one of those on their vehicle.
Yeah, I've seen those sold. Yeah, it's supposed to act as the way the air passes through it. It's supposed to make something where that they can hear it and keep them out from the roads when you're going by.
I've always wondered about them too.
Yeah.
All right, we got about a few seconds before we end up the first half. We'll be right back after the news. Do we have anything to give away?
We got one. We got a Baldwin's Community Gardens gift certificate.
All right, call right now if you want it. 622-9622. We'll be right back.
Fox News, I'm Lillian Wu. A presidential visit today gets the cold shoulder.
Virginia's black state lawmakers, a great many of them, will boycott today's commemoration of the 400 years of representative democracy.
Fox's Kevin Corke in Jamestown. The Virginia Black Caucus saying in a statement the president's participation is antithetical to the principles the caucus stands for. In Gilroy, California last night, hundreds gathering to remember the victims of Sunday night's mass shooting.
2 of the 3 killed were children, a 6-year-old boy and a 13-year-old girl. The third victim was a 20-year-old man who had just graduated college. Those wounded in the mass shooting ranged in age from 12 to 69 years old. 5 people remain hospitalized.
Fox's Claudia Cowan, the 19-year-old shooter, was killed by police. This is Fox News.
Pros do it right by choosing trusted brands like Zinsser and Little Giant. Lowe's is here to help by stocking those brands at savings you can count on every day. For over 150 years, Zinsser has been the problem solver professionals trust to make the job easier. Pick up a gallon of Zinsser Bullseye 2 Primer Plus Sealer today for as low as $17.08. And we now offer the Little Giant King Combo Ladder, the world's first step, extension, and leaning ladder for only $159. For your next job, and every job after, do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. U.S. only.
At Fidelity, we believe nothing should come between you and your money. So we're introducing zero account fees with zero minimums to open an account. All because we want you to invest with zero trade-offs. Visit fidelity.com/value to learn more. Zero account minimums and zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Expenses charged by investments such as funds and managed accounts and for commissions, interest charges, or other expenses for transactions may still apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE, SIPC.
Here is your 1-minute news brief. A homeless Ocala man has had several fines reduced after the ACLU helped him successfully challenge Ocala's open lodging ordinance that states a person cannot lodge or take temporary shelter on private or public property without permission. Authorities and beachgoers came together to protect and transport 5 pilot whales trapped in shallow water along Florida's Gulf Coast. A paraglider pilot was killed after losing control while gliding over Lake Beauclair in Tavares and crashing into the water yesterday morning. Florida's Attorney General asked the state Supreme Court to disqualify a proposed ballot measure seeking to ban assault weapons, saying the measure goes too far in allowing the possession of all semi-automatic long guns. A Village's restaurant is throwing its support behind a Bellevue teenager in desperate need of a kidney transplant, and we could soon learn more about Universal Orlando's future plans. The theme park announced on Friday that it will be sharing major news at a news conference on August 1st. And that is your news brief from The Source.
Partly sunny for today. There will be a shower or thunderstorm around, and at least across inland areas, that will be most likely during the afternoon. High today within a couple of degrees of 90. Partly cloudy tonight, low 73 to 78. Some sun followed by clouds for tomorrow. A shower or thunderstorm around in the afternoon, high 89 to 91. And then for Thursday, intervals of clouds and sunshine. Still the risk for a thunderstorm. Highs in the upper 80s and lower 90s. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson.
Hello, I'm Mark Sears with Regency Printing. With over 10 years in the printing business, I know you'll find Regency Printing the place for all your local printing needs. Plus, I have fax services, mailbox rentals, notary service, U.S. mail, pack and ship, all at one convenient location, 2375 Northeast 25th Avenue. Just look for the yellow signs. Regency Printing, 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Regency Printing.
Hey, this is Matt from Crossroad Auto Sales. I want to invite you to come over and check out our vehicles. All of our vehicles at Crossroad Auto Sales go through a rigorous 100-point safety inspection. We work with most outside finance companies, and we even have in-house financing available. Stop by today at 1800 Northwest 10th Street or give me a call at 690-6695. That's 690-6695. Crossroad Auto Sales. We won't leave you stranded at the crossroad.
Honey Baked Ham at 2709 Southwest 27th Avenue has new management. For our listeners, they're offering a 10% discount. Just mention this ad. All right, it's 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's return now to In the Garden with Carol Ann. Carol Ann Baldwin is your host. If you'd like to call in and speak to Carol Ann about your yard, your garden, your furniture. Not your furniture, but your fertilizer. That's what I meant to say. Or maybe your yard furniture.
We can talk about that too. Yeah.
I love patio furniture. I'm a big fan of sitting outside.
Sitting out, yeah.
All right, if you want to call in, the number is 622-9622.
Well, hey, patio furniture. Look around the big box stores right now. They're probably got it all on clearance because it's
July.
Because corporately, it's the end of outdoor season coming up.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
you
the
figure
secret?
Labor Day is coming up, and that's the end of the summer. Around the country. So, but and they get ready for all the holiday stuff. So, and I know everybody's going to complain about all the holiday stuff coming out early, but you believe how many people start looking for holiday stuff as soon as the.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
But just as something that actually makes you start to keep you think about gardening, and that is set the date. It's not for another month, but there's the Kids Gardening Festival at the County Extension Office at the gardens over there. It's August 31st. So, I mean, a lot of times when you got family, school starts in 3 weeks? Kids are back to school in about, I want to say it's 3 weeks. I know it's before my grandson actually will stay 11 when he goes and starts the next grade for like a week before he turns 12 in the, 7th grade? God, is he that old?
Gosh, I feel like he was a baby.
Yeah.
He's already almost 12?
Yeah.
Wow.
He'll be 12, next month.
Wow.
But
we're like family. We've known each other so long.
We have known each other for a long time. But August 31st from 9:30 to 1 is the Kids Gardening Festival. So if you got kids into gardening, or this is a great thing as we're coming into I know it's July and hotter than Hades out, but coming into the fall, hotter than Hades. We're coming into the dog days of summer. What do? We lay in the shade or find the cool concrete, the tile floor in the kitchen. Just like
that's right, like the dog does.
But thinking about the fall gardening and things like that, and kids in the garden, it's a great time to get kids back in, school's going, so you can relate gardening so much into the educational program, between just hands-on science kind of thing, but learning about different plants, how they grow, watering, vocabulary. There's all kinds of different things, timing on what to plant and when. So there's so much into not just vegetables, but flower gardening, whatever your kids might be interested in. So a good program coming up August 31st from 9:30 to 1. If you need more information on that, 671-8400. That's the County Extension Office over there. And just say, hey, listen, I need some more info. But it's also on their Facebook page, and probably within the Ocala, or whatever, coming up events pages as well. And if you call over there to the Extension Office, give them your email address. They will not bombard you with spam or any other thing. They will give you the links and the information on upcoming events at the Extension Office. You're not going to find out what goes on at the library necessarily unless it's a Extension Office event, but you can find a lot of different things, and the Extension Office is a great resource to have, because it's not just the Master Gardener program. It is also the 4-H program, which is kids and not just agriculture, but other programs and things for children. We all know that youth fair goes anywhere from, nowadays it's got computers, art, food sciences, clothing, as well as the agriculture that everybody thinks about. So there's a whole lot of area for boys and girls, elementary age, all the way up into high school. And you also have then the nutritional programs that go on over there at the county extension. It's all an extension of the University of Florida. So we have a great resource right here in our backyard. Anytime we're not on the air here, or you can't get on, the In the Garden page or something like that, just, remember you got that right at your fingertips on your phone.
Yeah, and mentioning the In the Garden page, I like to promote it while you're on the air. So if you didn't already know, Carol Ann created a Facebook group or a Facebook page called In the Garden.
Yeah.
And that's all you have to do is say, can I be part of this? And she'll say yes, and they're part of it.
Right. And sometimes I do have to look, because sometimes it doesn't come up and tell me that someone has asked to be a member of it. And it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Have you ever kicked anybody off?
I've declined one.
Well, why? Why'd you?
Because when I went in and I looked at their profile, it had nothing mentioned of our area.
Oh, okay.
Had nothing, not one thing on gardening, not any other gardening groups. It was just like, no, I think this is one that's just looking to get in and get names and things like that.
And post advertisements and stuff.
Right. So we did. But I mean, it's the fun. What did I do on that one? I forget which one I posted on there. Oh, the plant database that I shared over there. And I think you can, I didn't even try to click on it, was one I shared over the other day. The database is to help you identify plants. And that's, again, it's University of Florida, research base kind of thing. So some of these other plant ID things where we try to find stuff, and it's like, wait a minute, I don't believe that's that when I click it on the app. And some of those apps that are free
will only
give you like a few. You paid for yours, and it was like, they're not localized enough. They're too nationwide. I mean, there's some now that are out there that are the snake one, the snake ID one, which that's local. It's a Florida database. And as I've said before, when it comes to gardening, Florida is and landscaping. Florida is its own entity. We are not a southern garden, landscape. We, even though we're southeastern United States, Florida is a peninsula. We have several different growing climates. We have specific soil and soil conditions that make fertilization issues water drainage, the quantity of water that we receive, and the time frame it comes in. We might get, 52 inches, I believe. On average, we're 52 inches of rain a year. That'd be great if it came 1 inch a week. But no, we get it all in that 3 to 4 month period. And certain areas get even more. And so it's, we have our very own challenges here that they don't have, even just to our northernmost border state, which is Georgia, here in Central Florida. We don't have a true dormancy. And you get further south, if you have family and friends that live down in the Orlando area or south, or even coastal down, Clearwater, things like that even less cold weather.
Right.
Yeah, and so it's something we have to deal with when we're planting of plants. Which one's the right plant in the right place? That's the Florida Friendly Landscaping program and steps are are something really that the newcomer into Florida or into Central Florida really should look into. It's, there's several programs about that during the year, whether or not they're here in Marion County. You can even catch them, I want to say, in like Lake and Sumter County. So if you're on the further south end of the county kind of thing, or even on the eastern part of the county, it's a little far to come in here. Maybe it's not quite so far to go that direction. And you could, you're going to learn pretty much the same kind of things. And if we're not, we're hearing on these algae blooms, that are happening, the red tides and the blue-green algae, and I guess maybe blue-green algae is not the bad one, but there's like the cyno algae, that do the fish kills and things like that, and they can be related to either what they call non-point source pollution. That's runoff that happens 10 miles away, ends up in the storm drain that finally ends up in the creek that ends up out in the lake or whatever, or ones where, it's a lakefront area, maybe everybody's using the same lawn chemical company, and suddenly we have heavy rains and you have a fish kill. That's that's direct. That's almost direct point source pollution that causes a problem. And so we do have some issues. That in a couple different parts of the state, they have fertilizer bans during certain times of year, and this is that time of year. It's the rainy season. It's too hot to fertilize your lawn. Your lawn's not, just like in the wintertime, your lawn is somewhat dormant, doesn't take it up fast enough. We don't really need to fertilize because you don't need it to grow. This time of year, it's growing on its own. It's hot, it's sunny, it's rainy. You don't need to put fertilizer down. It's going to grow all on its own. Rain, especially when it's lightning, when we have our lightning, which we have plenty of that, actually puts nutrients into that rainwater, so it's fertilizing your lawn. And every time you run that lawnmower across there and leave those grass clippings, you've just fertilized your lawn. So it's not that we don't need to go grab the bag of stuff and throw it in the spreader and run around the lawn and then have a 4-inch gully washer rainstorm come and wash that down into the storm drain or over to your neighbor's yard and you just fertilize his, or we don't get the sufficient rain, and you burn your lawn. Keep just a healthy lawn doesn't need a whole lot of fertilizers. We can maintain those kind of things. And the more you fertilize, actually, and improperly water, your sprinklers should have been off now for about 2 months. The more you cause your own fungal issues, and the more you cause your own insect pest issues. Because if you're over-fertilizing, you're stimulating new growth constantly. And that new growth is what insects want to feed on. They don't feed on the old stuff. The old tough lettuce leaf is not near as palatable as those mini fresh greens are. Those little, I mean, even we ourselves as consumers. Who regulates
the water? If you have your sprinkler on, who would give you a citation if you did not do it right? Police or city code or something like that?
I believe code and such like that, because it's code enforcement, I believe. But I mean, it's kind of silly. Why would you have your sprinklers on when it's raining?
For example, let's say you turned it on for the kids to play in.
That's a different story.
Oh, you don't get in trouble for that?
No, that's a different story because it's being utilized. It's on a garden hose. That's not your system coming on.
Okay.
And water and usually the kids are playing in the backyard. Neighbor's not going to see. But no, that's not that's not as much. I mean, you're allowed to wash your car and things like that. It's just that and this time of year you just don't need the irrigation system running. It's raining. We're not going more than 7. Any more than 7. We're not going 7 days.
Every day.
Without. We didn't get any at my house yesterday, so I was glad. Get a chance to dry up just a little bit. You start to feel moldy after a while, but that this time of year we don't need it, and then when we come into the fall, we can begin. We can do some fertilization during that time to help. Because all that rain does leach out some of the other nutrients, so we need to put some of the stuff back in. And there are ways of going organic or non-synthetic ways to do if you're looking for a little more earth-friendly methods. They're probably going to nourish the soil better than a synthetic will. But when it comes possibly to pest control and things like that, you may not get, not in the lawn situation, as good of a control using a
So can I go back to earlier in the show, you told me what to put into the pot for my cactus.
Oh, right.
If that gets to the point where I want to put it outside.
Right.
How is it going to grow if it's going to be in natural regional soil or whatever you call it? Like if its whole life it had this
it would
special
be fine.
soil.
It'll be fine because our soils drain real well. And it'll be fine. I mean, there are now if people want to do cactus or succulent gardens, there actually is in the landscape also cactus and succulent soils. Mostly, I think it has to do with the
So you have to keep putting it down all the time?
No. That's just something you would plant in initially. Say you were going to plant a nice bed.
So does that contribute to the pollution too? Like if you put down soils?
Not really, no.
Just fertilizers?
No, just fertilizers. Fertilizers and pest controls is what your biggest things are, is when they're not done by reading and following the instructions. I mean, my mantra on
that is your thing, yes.
It just
when you write a book, that should be the title.
That should just be read and follow label instructions. Here you go. That's life. Follow the instructions. We already have a book that gives you some. Yeah.
That's a good point.
So just put that one in there. That gives you the instructions on life. But the other parts, on being a good steward on the gardening part of it, it's just. Because I do have some people, and they are learning, and that's what I'm happy about. Is that
you're
they'll
referring
come
to the
back.
Bible, right?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
What does the Bible give you gardening instructions at all? Does it say?
It tells you to be a good everything in moderation, a good steward of things. So
it doesn't say plant your tomatoes in August.
No, it doesn't. Well, because it all around the world. But no, I mean, don't be afraid that. I mean, if you're in the garden centers and stuff, and yes, a lot of those people don't have. They're not me. They're not your garden person. They're the ones who can tell you just how many block you're going to need to do that patio enclosed, around to do your bed. But there's usually somebody in there who at least has some knowledge or can help you look it up. That's the one thing. Not everybody has, because they don't have to. That's not their job. My job is to be who I am in my store and to be knowledgeable. Mm-hmm. But the guy's loading up your mulch, he's not necessarily going to know how far apart to space the plants or when to plant certain plants. So don't be mad at him. Just realize he can either help you find somebody who can.
I wonder if some of the things that I think are cool that are garden related, do you think they're gimmicky? For example, like when you see in the store, like I saw in, oh gosh, what's that place called? It's like a dollar store, but it's
okay.
I can't remember what it's called.
Like a Dollar Tree, like everything's
it's like
a dollar.
One of those,
kind of
but it's got a different name. But anyway, and they have this ready-made miniature garden.
And
it's all labeled with seeds and everything. I mean, it's all ready to go. You just water it and wait.
Some of those, they are a little bit gimmicky, only for the sake that they will probably need to be transplanted. But some of the stuff is they're just neat. Sometimes they're an introduction into gardening, especially for children or somebody new here. They make fun gifts. I mean, I think they're neat. The little fairy garden ones that you might find as a whole kit. And sometimes you find those in the children's craft sections in stores and things like that, where it's got everything's in there. You got to dump the dirt in and
have you ever seen the little houses and stuff for the fairy gardens?
Oh yeah, they're cool. They are cool. They're fun. They are. I don't even know. I mean, they're a fad that hasn't burned itself out yet, at least with certain people. I mean, I've seen a few people. I know some people who still have theirs, or like they had a tree taken out and they left enough of the stump because the gnarledness of that stump around there, and they made a new fairy garden.
That's cool.
Over their stump and stuff like that. And the spouses get involved too, because maybe they're making some of the, that these are larger fairy gardens, where your stump is, 10 inches around, and this is suddenly a little fairy house and has a little roof and everything on it. So kind of fun. But, I mean, that's what, sometimes collectibles. One year, one of the big name companies that we all are familiar with, fertilizers and stuff, had these little, what was it, like an egg, and all you had to do was open the top up and and water.
I think I saw
and
this.
put the seeds in.
Yeah.
And those are great for kids.
That little
And
thing we
even-
had,
yeah.
remember for tomato plants, we had that little
Right,
thing?
right.
Looked like a dozen eggs.
Yeah, it was the greenhouse little thing, the one
Little-
we put
right.
the water in.
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah, and I mean that's just that's a seed starting kit.
Yeah.
That and even the other ones were really kind of neat. That you might have started it in the house like this, but it was the material it was made out of could be taken and planted right in the ground or into a large pot. Some people may say the fabric pots I use, which you can find them occasionally on the seed racks, at least the one variety, but you can order those online too. Are a gimmick or a thing, but no, people plant in all kinds of different containers. I mean, you can get a children's swimming pool that's leaky, and fill it full of dirt and drill some extra holes in it, and you now have a raised bed.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, or if you've got the children's swimming pool that's in good shape, you get your styrofoam that'll float the insulation board from the home improvement store, drill your holes in it, and make yourself a hydroponic bed, floating bed.
You don't need nutrients in the water?
No, you buy liquid fertilizers. I mean, you can get fancy and go online and buy the really good stuff, but you can grow lettuce and some basic things, and just for fun and to try. Lettuce actually does really well in a hydroponic system for the homeowner.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's mostly water anyway, right?
Right. And and it grows so quickly, and it doesn't really take up a whole lot of space. So it's one of those kind of fun things, and it's up off the ground. You can even do the hydroponic stuffs in like the plastic tote boxes.
Oh, really?
The totes.
Right.
Because you're just going with it's something that'll hold water, and then you just need something that will float. Or if it's shallow, you could even possibly use the lid. If it's an under the bed storage box, your lid there just cuts your holes and put your pots down in there. Have your water and your nutrient solution, and you're all set and ready to go.
I wonder if we have a book. I wonder if Robin can hear me. We had an author on, and she was talking about grow the plants that love you, or something. Love your plants.
Love your plants.
I don't know if we had a listener who took it or not, but I'll go get it for you if we still have it here, or if Robin's here, maybe we should bring it in.
If you still have it around. But that's just, there's all kinds of, and again, talking about vegetables and that, we're at the end of July. July is gone.
So I have a question for you based on what I just said. Okay, I was telling you about a guest, and we may have had 2 or 3 guests that were, talking about their gardening books.
Right.
And they were almost all like earlier this month.
Sure.
Okay. So, like in January, we get all the diet books, right? So, are they? But and that makes sense. The whole country, right? But do the garden people, should they be calling us in April? I mean, do they call us too early?
They really should. To come in to be doing now is it just keeps the information heightened. It might make a great gift idea for the season, but you figure for most of the country, their gardening season is wrapping up. Ours is still continuing. We're getting ready to. We're going to start over in another couple weeks. But no, just thinking we're the end of July, and unfortunately, I think all the big box stores have taken away their seed racks. They're gone for the season. And more than likely, they won't be back until after the first of the year. You may have to mail order for them, but if you've got your seeds, go ahead and get them started because you want to get your tomatoes back in the ground by like the 1st of September. Green beans can go back in the ground here in just a couple weeks in August. Get you another round of green beans, squash, cucumber. All of that stuff can start over again for that, I call it second spring garden before we start the cool season thing. So the end of August, you might be starting your seed, or 1st of September, your seed for your broccoli, your cauliflower, your Brussels, all those winter crops, your cabbages and things like that.
Does the limestone that we credit to the horse industry also affect the plants in our area?
Sure, because it affects our pH in our soils. That's why we don't automatically grab a bag of lime every spring and do our lawn, like they might up north.
Okay.
Our soils have a tendency to be to the neutral or slightly, in my yard at least, it used to be, we would be alkaline. So I would actually have to try to bring that down.
So how do you measure that? Do you have a tool?
A pH meter, or use the county extension. They'll do soil testing.
They'll
for
come
you,
out to your house?
No, you collect your sample. You collect your sample if it's in your vegetable garden or your flower bed, something like that. Make sure if you can take more than one sample, but usually say you're going to do a vegetable garden. You dig down about the bottom of your shovel, take a little bit of soil, drop it in your can. Do this several places, mix that up, take about a quarter of a cup of that, and make sure it's dry. And then, because they normally recommend you bring it in a little paper bag, go hit the convenience store and get like a single can bag, or go stop by the extension office. They've got the little paper bags. You put it in there, and that way that's not going to hold any extra moisture, and they can do do the soil sample. They do it like once a month. So just try to think of it that way.
The little can bag.
Yeah, I know.
The single can bag.
It's a single can bag. It could also be, you could consider it the candy bag. For the smokers, it holds 2 packs or something like that. I don't know.
Always fun. So if you would like to contribute to Carol Ann's Facebook page, it's called In the Garden.
Yes.
I think there's another one, and it's a lady in Sanibel Island, I think.
Right.
It's a business.
Ours has the little fairy garden on the front picture of it, and does say Ocala when you bring it up.
So join that group. You'll be part of one of the few groups that I'm actually part of.
And you can post on it, and ask questions and all the rest of that. So.
Absolutely. Do you have to work today?
I do. Yes, I'm leaving here, heading to work.
Thank you for what you do, Carol.
Hey, my pleasure.
All right, we'll be right back. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.